Hey folks, welcome back to Indaba Africa. And news for Africa, this was interesting, and news for around the world. This is news from the Catholic Church. Congratulations to Archbishop Wilton Gregory of Washington, D.C., who has been elevated to Cardinal, one of just 120 people who occupied that position for the Catholic Church. Quite a prestigious position for Archbishop Wilton Gregory, or should I say Cardinal Gregory. Congratulations to you. Now, once again, the Catholic Church is sticking its nose in other people's business with its political behavior and its political conduct. And let me be specific about that, and I'll talk about that very quickly. So today, Gregory stepped out of his quarters where he's been in isolation in the Vatican because of concerns over coronavirus. He's been isolated for the past week or so. And he walked into history becoming the first Catholic black cardinal from the United States, or African-American cardinal from the United States. Wow. Quite an interesting situation, folks. An installation ceremony that took place in Rome today, the 28th of November, 2020. Historic development for the Catholic Church right here in North America, in the United States, and for the Church as a whole. Gregory is one of 13 men and the only American who were elevated to the College of Cardinals during the ceremony. Now, in keeping with the Pope's concerns for Catholics who have been historically marginalized, he also appointed cardinals from Rwanda, Burundi, Chile, and the Philippines. Now, Cardinal Gregory, 72 years of age, is the highest-ranking African-American Catholic in U.S. history. A fascinating development. Now, let's see. Gregory said that, I hope it's a sign to the African-American community that the Catholic Church has a great reverence, respect, and esteem for the people, for my people of color. Well, I hope it means that the Catholic Church is able to pick the best people qualified for the position. Who cares what your skin color is there, Cardinal Gregory? Actually care about whether you're the right person for the position. But of course, the Catholic Church is oh so political and has always been political and remains so. As a cardinal, he'll be one of the Pope's closest advisors, as I said, one of only 120 people in that College of Cardinals. And they're the ones who pick the next pontiff. Yeah, so before Francis chose Gregory to be a cardinal, he was selected as Archbishop just a year ago in Washington, D.C. Previously served in Belleville, Illinois as a bishop, and in Atlanta. He was born in Chicago and was not a Catholic. He converted to Catholicism later. In elevating Gregory to the highest ranks of the church, Francis keeps sticking his nose into racial dynamics in the United States. If of note for this selection of Gregory as a cardinal, he passed over several archbishops who would traditionally have become cardinals to promote Gregory. Interesting. Now, Francis has stepped into America's politics, condemning the death of George Floyd, who was killed by a policeman back in Minnesota in May. Earlier this week, he met with National Basketball Association players at the Vatican, encouraging them to keep fighting for racial justice and economic equality. One player described the pontiff as a super chill. Well, I have to say this about Pope Francis. If you're going to talk to people about racial inequality and economic equality, you might not want to talk to National Basketball Association players. You might have missed this part, you uninformed buffoon, but the starting rookie salary in the National Basketball Association is a guaranteed $890,000 per year. You also might have missed, Pope, the fact that 87% of the players in the National Basketball Association are black. So what racial inequality is the NBA concerned about? What racial inequality are they experiencing when 87% of the players are black and they make $900,000 per year as a starting guaranteed minimum salary? Who in America makes $900,000? Who in the world makes $900,000 never having stepped on the floor and proven yourself for even a moment's notice? It's impossible. I submit to you that National Basketball Association players are probably not the people who can discuss racial inequality and economic inequality because they don't suffer from it. In fact, they suffer from overrepresentation. 13.5% of America's population is black, yet 87% of the NBA is black, or 78% of the NBA is black. Why is that? Sorry, wrong audience there, Pope, wrong audience. In a book-length interview published this past Monday, he castigated Americans who protest mask-wearing mandates. This is a quote from the pontiff. You'll never find such people protesting the death of George Floyd or joining a demonstration because there are shanty towns where children lack water or education, or because there are whole families who have lost their income, in a forthcoming book called Let Us Dream. Well, that sanctimonious drivel is utter nonsense. Who are you to speak for 330 million people? And also, who are you to speak for us when you make that bigotry? And it's obviously a racial bigotry. We see where you're going with this. This is a shame to see the head of the Catholic Church, which represents a billion people or so around the planet, to behave in such a fashion. Unbelievable. Close to a billion people. On such matters, they would never protest, the Pope continued. They're incapable of moving outside their own little world of interest. Can you say bigot much, folks? Wow. Is the Pope a bigot? They? Incapable of moving outside their own little world? You don't know anything about people that you're speaking about there, Mr. Pope. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Well, there you have it, folks. It's a shame. Now, I should talk about Cardinal Gregory as well. Cardinal Gregory, of course, has been elevated at a very rapid pace of late. And congratulations to him for becoming a cardinal in the College of Cardinals. But he's also a person who believes strongly and firmly in undermining the sovereignty of the United States of America, and has been on record as stating that illegal invaders, criminal invaders in the United States, are welcome to come here, and that they're being persecuted for no reason whatsoever. No, they're being prosecuted and persecuted because they're invaders. They violated our sovereignty of our nation. We don't get to walk in other people's country and just start consuming and arriving and doing what the heck we want. No, it doesn't work that way. If people want to enter this country, there's a legal mechanism for it. It may not be simple, but that's just too bad. It's a mechanism for me to live in New Zealand is quite complicated and virtually impossible to do. That's their prerogative. It's not racial, but it's their prerogative. So, folks, very disappointing that the Pope has to stick his nose into politics for which he's distorting things beyond belief. This Pope, since he's arisen to be head of the Catholic Church, has been quite the disappointment. While he's obsessed with skin color and issues that are not germane, how about we talk about this issue? Why don't you resign and the College of Cardinals appoint a black pontiff? How about a Nigerian? Nigeria has a massive number of Catholics. Quite frankly, they should have had a Catholic pope long before now. We've gone through this guy. We've had the German guy before that. How about a black African pope? How about that? Now, when you try to put me in your little box of bigotry there, Pope Francis, in which you say they would never protest and they would never do this and they would never do that, I'm actually calling for a black pope. You can resign. It's been done before. You don't have to die in office. Go ahead and resign. The German Pope set the example. Follow his example. Resign. Stop sticking your nose in other people's business. And then we can have a black pope. How's that? Instead of your window dressing. It's a shame. But seriously, congratulations to Cardinal Gregory on his ascension. And while we're at it, Cardinal Gregory, congratulations. But keep your nose out of our sovereignty business here and administer to your flock and stop dealing with the rest of us. Most of us in this country are not Catholics, and we're not interested in your encouraging illegal violation of our sovereignty. Anyway, folks, yeah, that's bound to get a few Catholics hot under the collar, this video. And, well, that's just the way it is. If you're unhappy about that, I'm speaking the truth. This Pope has stuck his business in our business repeatedly with no justification whatsoever. He has his facts wrong, and he is perpetuating a narrative that is counterproductive to racial harmony, to progress in this country, and it undermines our sovereignty. And no, thank you. You may have a flock that transcends national boundaries, but we don't. American citizens come from America. We live within the confines of our 50 states and territories, and that's how it is. Folks, if you're not a subscriber to Chris White Africa, feel free to become one by pushing that button right down there. Be sure to toggle the bell icon to get notified of updates, and feel free to leave a comment. Abusive comments will simply be deleted, and you'll expose yourself with your comments. And finally, smash the like button. And once again, congratulations to Cardinal Gregory on your elevation to the College of Cardinals today, the 28th of November, 2020. Take care, folks.